This video is a brief overview of how to use the online sales module of your Tomahawk Content Management System. So something to keep in mind for this video is that I currently have two tabs across the top of my browser. The first one is the user side of my website, so public, anyone can go there and buy items, stuff like that. And then the second one, of which I was just in, was the administrative side, so where I can log in and change the prices of items and stuff like that. The reason for that is I'll probably be going back and forth between them throughout the video just to show you on the admin side settings that you can put in, and then on the user side how that affects the checkout process and the view. So I'll start off by going to the online sales module here. Currently it's where you are by default. This is where usually it'll list your orders. I don't have any unprocessed orders currently, so that's why it's showing me no records found. But I do have a couple processed orders, so I can sort by that. There's different ways to see different orders. So we have our main categories across the top here: products, orders, reports, and settings. I'll just briefly go over each. So products, that'll list the products on your website. So on this website I have two products, right? I'll just log on to the public side too here. I currently have a hat and a mug. I'll go in to show you the different kinds of settings, but here's where it lists all the products on your website, and then you can click into the product code to go in and edit that product further. Add product is almost the exact same as clicking into a product, but you're adding a new one. So it would look like something like this with all the extra fields. So I'll get into this in just a moment. But to go back to list products here, it's just an area where you can search by different products. So you have more than two products on your website. It might be a little hard to see them. Price lists. Currently this website does not support price lists, but if it was supported on your website, you could set up say a VIP price list. Or in our case, we're on a Tomahawk website, right? Tomahawk mug, stuff like that. I can set up a Tomahawk VIP members list. And then if you have the members module, you can add members to that VIP list, and they might have a different price. So maybe Tomahawk VIP members, instead of paying $10 for the Tomahawk mug, pay $5. So that's where the price lists come in. Orders, that's where we were at the beginning. So where it listed, in my case, no orders for unprocessed, and then you can sort by different ones. Reports, I'm not going to go too far into there, but essentially, you just click into what kind of report you're looking for, and then you can specify the date range. Settings, so if your website has categories, most do, this is where you can go to add a new category or edit an existing one. So currently I have a Tomahawk items category, and within there's two subcategories, one called hat and one called mug. How that's affected on the public side of the website is, if I click to the first tab here, we'll see we got by default, the shopping cart will show all of your items. You can link to specific categories and stuff like that. But if I were to go to, say, the Tomahawk items category, it's still listing both of them because I have subcategories called hat, and then it'll just list the hat. I went in there specifically to set it to that category. And then the same thing for the mug. So I'll go back to the admin side here. That's pretty much categories. It's fairly straightforward. The shipping, so currently my website, it can change shopping cart to shopping cart. I'm just using the default shipping method, which means I set up the shipping methods first. So in this case, I got pickup, regular mail, express courier, whatever they are, right? You can add more as you please. How this is affected is on each item, when I go in and edit the mug item in a minute or two, it's going to have these three different shipping methods, and then I'll be able to set up a shipping cost for each of those. So maybe pickup is $0, regular mail is $2. I mean, it depends item to item kind of thing. Another shipping method instead is we also have shipping calculators, so stuff like FedEx, UPS, Canada Post, stuff like that, where depending on when you're in the checkout process, I'm not there on the user side yet, but if I were to add it to the cart and put my name in there, once they put in their postal code and country, then it'll calculate the appropriate shipping costs. The only thing with that is you'd want to create a Canada Post shipping account or something like that with them, and then you contact us to have something like that set up. So tax rates, currently I don't have any set up on this website, but usually this is where it would show, say, your provinces / states, and then 5% GST or HST or whatever the taxes are in those states or provinces. So that's essentially the categories here. The main bulk of it probably will be in the products. So like I was showing, there's two products here. I'll go into the mug one. And again, it would be the exact same if I were to add a product, other than everything would be blank, or for the most part anyways. So the first one here, parent item. I'm not using any parent items on this website, but a good way to think of it is if I did attach this to, say, the hat, or I created another shopping cart product and then made this a child item of that parent. It's good for items that will have different costs. So maybe, in this case I'm selling a mug. Well, let's say we were selling the hat. or actually a t-shirt, say we have small, medium, large. If those are different prices, then you'd want to set up a parent called, say, shirt, and then three child items called, one called small, one called medium, one called large, and then each of those will have their, their appropriate cost associated with them. So the next one is item code. That's something you put in the system for your tracking. It's referenced, on the products list here as well. Some people use it for tracking. It integrates with their system, stuff like that. Other ones, they just put in maybe a number-based system, something like that. It's just an internal one. It will show up on the public side, though. It is like in a little box. Item visible is fairly straightforward. If it's not checked, then the item won't show up on the website. Category, right? So I was in the categories over here before. In this case, the mug, I told it was part of the Tomahawk items category and then part of the mug subcategory. So the for sale in, Canada, US, other, you can also specify, say, the provinces or states within those countries, or in this case, it's provinces. And then also, I'm not using this site's logic currently, but if that was set up, you'd have some site options here as well. It just depends on your configuration. So the display, there's a couple different options we can select here. Essentially, it's, other than just item visible here, maybe when you run out of a certain, quantity, which is right down here in stock, of an item, maybe you want it to just disappear off the website. Or maybe you want it just to show, it tells the user that, oh, this item is in back order, we need to order more, but we will send it to you once we have them, and that'll show up a different thing on the public side of the website as well. Or maybe you always want the item to be visible, no matter what. So you don't have a quantity or you don't keep track of it, doesn't matter. So you can set up those. The in stock, again, depends what your needs are. If it's always displayed, well, you don't really need to put in a stock level. Hide stock as well, maybe you don't want it showing up on the website. So here, if your site's bilingual, you can switch to French as well, and that'll give you more options. So the French item would have a different French item name, a different description, a different long description versus short. But I won't go into the French currently. It's the exact same thing as English, other than being for the French items. So item name, fairly straightforward. That'll show up on the public side, right? Just Tomahawk mug. The next one we have here is short description. These are in CK editors, or editors, if you will, WYSIWYGs. What you see is what you get. So what you put in here, you can, in my case, I just have some text in both of them, but you can put in links, you can insert images, anything like that, and those will show up on the website in the appropriate location. So if I put an image in here, then it would show up there. If you're not sure how to use them, or maybe you have a specific question about them, we do have a video as well. I'll probably link it in the YouTube video here, or put a link to it somewhere else. But we have a video going over the editor as well, because there's a lot of different functions in there. So yes, we have short description, long description. Where that shows up on the public side of the website is short description currently. Also, your view might look different than mine. There's multiple different views, but essentially here's a short description, and then if I were to click into that item, I have the short description at the top and then the long description. So we'll go back here. There's the long description, along with a few other things, right? I guess there's social media things, in stock, the price. Here's the item code that was put in there, the title. There's a picture area that we'll get to in just a moment. So I'll go back to the admin side here. I'll scroll down a little bit more. The cost of the item, if there's a discount. Taxes, if you did have taxes on your website and you check it, what would normally happen here is you have all the provinces or states, and then you select the ones, the appropriate tax for each. So depending on items or even states/provinces, the tax rate can be different. So that's where you'd select. Maybe you have GST and HST for Ontario or something different. So you go in there and check the applicable taxes. But just in this case, I'm going to say the item is not taxed, just to keep it nice and simple. So shipping costs, this is where, if you recall, I have up here the shipping area. That's where I set up 3 different types of shipping. Go back to my product here, the mug. So in this case, I set a price for each of them. I have a base and a bulk. I'll explain that in just a second. Otherwise, if you do have a postal calculator, such as Canada Post, UPS, FedEx, etc., this won't show up because it'll calculate it automatically depending on the country and province. Anyway, so right in here, you'd set in your base and your bulk costs. Currently, I just have them all set to 0. Where base and bulk comes in is if I'm buying 2 mugs, maybe, shipping-wise, it's cheaper, buying shipping 2 than, together than separate, right? So the bulk is maybe I want to be able to cover my money. So I'll say for regular mail, or say express here, I put that as $5. right? And then the bulk, where that comes in, is I probably want it fairly less, say $1. And what this will do is, say I ordered 3 mugs, or the user on the public side, they filled in, you want 3 mugs and add it in there. It will take the base cost, shipping cost. So they select, express courier. So it'll say $5. Okay, you now have 3 items, so let's apply the bulk. So for each additional item, in this case, there's, just in my example, 3 mugs. There'd be 2 additional ones other than the first mug, right? So $5, and then it would charge an additional $1 and then another $1, equaling $7 for the 3 mugs. So that's where the base and bulk comes. It sounds a little confusing, but it's fairly straightforward. And yeah, if you have a postal calculator, none of this matters. So free shipping, is it free? Yes, no, stuff like that. Exempt from free shipping. Read-only shipping. So sometimes maybe you have an item where you only want it shipped to the exact same billing address. Say maybe firearms, stuff like that. You need to be able to authenticate that user. Wherever they're buying it from, it is being sent to the United States or wherever it's being sent, kind of thing. That's where you can check this. So basically, what it does is on the public side, it'll just make it so the user normally they can fill in, and I'll get to this in a bit, shipping and billing information. Well, they'll fill in their billing information, and then the shipping will have to go to the exact same address as the billing. So the product image, currently it's a mug. I can click View Image or Delete Image or select a new image, and that'll open up the Files area of your website. Attributes. So I actually have a couple of these set up for the hat item. The best way to think of them, maybe not the mug example, but in the hats case, maybe you have different colors of hats. Or maybe you do have, like I was saying earlier with the shirt, small, medium, large, and original, or small, medium, large. If the costing isn't different, well then you don't really need to set up taxing and different shipping and everything else, just per item. In that case, you can just set up an attribute, like you can say color, or in a second I'll go over there and show you, and then you put in each specific attribute that they can select. So a good example of this, I'll just go over to the hat item that I have, and I'll scroll down to the attributes. I set up one called size, adult and child. Could be color, anything like that. Maybe you can have multiple ones as well. So if I were to go to item, so Tomahawk hat right there, a hat with the Tomahawk Technologies logo on it. So I'll just click into the item here. Right here, I have a size option, or the attribute that I filled in, and then I can put adult, child, select it, and then add them accordingly. That's pretty straightforward. That's what the attribute field does. And then right down here, this form builder. I'll go back to my mug item here because I have that filled in. Depending, you might not need this, but some people have forms attached with their items, and I'll show you in a second the checkout process on the user side and where this comes into play. But using the form builder module, it's another module on your website, or you might have it enabled, is you can ask things name, phone number, pretty much anything in a normal form. It can be much beyond that, date, or in this case, for the mug, I'm pretending there's a special message someone can add onto the mug, custom message. So I already created a form in my form builder module called mug form, and then in this case, when I was at creating this mug item, I expanded it here and then just said, oh yeah, use the mug form. So that's going to be required. And then right here, it's just showing me some settings of that form. This is where if I need to change these, I go into the form builder module itself, and then, when someone submits information to it, does it send an email to the administrator of the website? Does it store in database, which means on the website, as in, you can export it to Excel, stuff like that. And yes, I'll show you on the user side where this comes into play. So that's more or less the actual item area itself. There's a lot of different settings, but it's mostly just going through and then checking the ones that apply. I might be back in the administrative side of the website, but more or less we're done with that. I'll go over to the user side here. So I'll just go to, I'll order 2 mugs for this example. So we have the cost, the item codes showing up there, the short description, the pictures. We'll add our 2 mugs here. So I have here, I can go back, of course, and order more items if I need to, or change my quantities, stuff like that. So I already have my information filled in here, billing information and shipping information. If you want, you can say, shipping, same as billing. You have different options. The only reason I'm seeing this is because I'm logged in as the administrator of the website. It knows that I'm logged in here, so I can get extra little options. So here's those different shipping options. Currently, they're all $0 because I never specified, a costing. But if there was, say $5, $10, it would show up here. Or if it was a shipping calculator, then it would automatically fill that in depending on what I put in here. So I'm going to continue to checkout. So right here, we're getting through the standard checkout process. We have kind of the steps that we're going to be taking to finish the checkout. Some of them will be skipped depending, or in this case, I'm buying mugs. I got to fill out forms next. So currently, we're at the checkout process. What are we going to pay with? It depends on your website. Maybe you just have PayPal or credit cards. Maybe you only accept check. You accept all of them. Depends. In this case, I'm just going to select cash payment, put in a comment, continue to purchase. So we're at the fill forms section here. Again, if you didn't have a form associated with your item in the admin side, so right over here at the bottom, maybe that wasn't checked, then the user wouldn't have to fill in a form, but in this case I do. So what it's showing me here is I've ordered 2 mugs, and there's supposed to be a custom message filled out for both mug in this case, or for each mug. So what I can do is we put something in here where, say the messaging is going to be the same for it, or whatever the product happens to be. Maybe someone doesn't want to have to fill in. They order 10 mugs and they all want them to say, their business name or whatever it's going to be. Well, they don't want to have to go through each form, show form, fill in, I want it to say my company name, right? And then they click submit. And then right here it says check, and then they got to do that 10 more times, right? So what this is doing is it knows that I'm ordering 2 mugs, or say 10 mugs, and I can just click show form here, and this will fill out all the forms at the same time. So company name, and then I don't have to go through that process of filling it out 10 times. So right here, pay with cash, the forms are checked. If the user didn't know to, maybe they didn't see the X, or they didn't know to fill in the form, when they do click continue with purchase, if they didn't already fill out the form, it will appear on their screen for them to fill out. So I'll just click continue with purchase here. So we skipped a couple other ones because in this case I'm paying with cash, so a couple of the steps didn't matter. Say if I was paying by credit card or PayPal, there'd be a checkout process where, in PayPal I go off to my PayPal account, log in, and confirm the payment. Or in credit card, I fill in the credit card details on the website, MasterCard, etc., etc. So in this case, it's just a cash payment. I've ordered my item. It's telling me information. Depending on what I fill in, the user will receive emails, thank you for your order, here's the information, you ordered 3 mugs, stuff like that. So something I do need to go over in the admin side now that I think about it is once the user, they have their information, they've submitted their order, they've received their email, the administrator here, this is where orders, I had none before. You'll see now I have that order I just put in. There's one that's showing up. It's manual cash, it's by Bob, created today. Here's the invoice number. So there's a couple different things. If they paid by credit card and it's already done, then it would show processed under payment. But currently I'm not paying anything, or I'm going to mail in my cash, say as an example. Forward to clicking the invoice here, it's just showing us information we've already seen, right? There's a couple different options. So mark as processed. That's maybe this Bob person finally they mail in their cash payment. Well, I can mark as processed. And then that basically tells me as the website administrator, hey, this, yes, I've received a payment. It's processed, processed on May 8th, 2013. And additionally, also in the orders area here, if I were to click list again, you see unprocessed orders doesn't show up. It's currently under processed orders because I've already paid for it. Here's the Bob one I was just in. There's shipping method or method pickup. So this shows you what the user selected. In this case, they selected pickup. Let's say I selected, courier. Well, you can, as the administrator, mark as shipped. Are you sure? Yes, I do. Maybe you have a shipping number, UPS number or whatever it is. You can put it in there. Click OK. And each of these steps, once you process an order, along with yourself, the website administrator, your user or whoever ordered it, in this case, Bob or Tex at Tomahawk, will receive an order saying, hey, your order is processed by the administrator. Hey, your order is shipped. Here's the information that they put in, and stuff like that. So a couple different options here as well. Prepare shipping info. That's if maybe you work with another individual or you want the shipping information sent to you. It's just a packing list. So if I were to click this, the website administrator receive an email saying, hey, you got, this person's buying 2 mugs. Here's where they're supposed to be shipped, and if there's any other items in that order. You can cancel order. In this case, I'm not going to. Delete order, close order. Also, I had the form set up on this mug with the custom message where I filled in, company name. That's where it shows up. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any form area here. You can print the order, of course, as well. And that's essentially the online sales module. There can be other, I guess, settings, or maybe when you're first configuring things. But that's essentially how you set up and use the online sales module of your Tomahawk Content Management System. Thanks for watching. Bye.